Hey y'all, I'm Rachel, and it was a lovely fall day here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. My husband Mario and I, he's my lovely cameraman back there, went on a great hike today, but the nights are starting to cool off a little bit, so we figured we'd have some soup for dinner tonight. Here's all our ingredients. We started with about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. We've got that melting in our big old pot over there. We took 1 whole onion, and we cut it up pretty small, and I'm gonna, as soon as that coconut oil gets melted, I'm gonna add it to it. And then I've got a mix of maybe a teaspoon of garlic powder, a good helping of curry powder because that's one of our favorites, some red pepper flakes, and some cilantro. Then once the onions are nice and almost cooked, I'm gonna add 1.5 pounds of the Whole Foods pork breakfast sausage because that is our absolute favorite. And we've got 4 cans of coconut milk that we're going to use, 3 cups of homemade, we think it's beef broth, any kind of broth will work, chicken, beef, whatever y'all have in the freezer. And then we've got a ton of kale, 2 bunches to be exact, one was bigger than the other. And I've got some more curry powder I'm going to add in a little bit, some more garlic powder that I'm going to add, and some cilantro. And last but not least, I've got about 5 small to medium sweet potatoes that I've already cooked and got prepared. As you can see, they're cut up pretty small. You want them to cook fast and be bite-sized when they end up in your mouth with the soup. So, I think, yes, we are melted. So I'm going to add our onion to the coconut oil. My hands are clean, I promise. And get it all good and mixed around. And once that gets cooked up, we'll be back for some more footage. Okay. Hey y'all, we're back again. It's been about 5-10 minutes. And as you can see from these onions, they're starting to get cooked, but they're not all the way done yet, which is just how we want them. I'm gonna go ahead and add these spices. Again, that was garlic powder, some curry, cilantro, and red pepper flakes. And I'm actually going to go ahead and grind in some salt and pepper. I really don't know about how much, just a couple of good seconds on the grinder. We're going to get that all blended in. And it is time to add the sausage. So I'm going to come in here and make sure I get it all nice and broken up. You don't want to be getting just a huge chunk of sausage while you're eating your soup. You want just a nice little bite of sausage. So right now I'm going to go ahead and get all this sausage nice and brown, and then we'll be back after that. Hey y'all, we're back again, and as you can see from in here, the sausage is nice and brown. The onions are perfectly translucent. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this homemade stock. Look at all that deliciousness that just came out of there. Give that a couple of good stirs. Going to add the 4 cans of coconut milk. This is a very rich soup, so it makes a lot of leftovers, or I guess depending on how big your family is, a decent night's meal. Very rich, so be prepared to not finish it, or maybe to have a small salad to go with it, unless you're used to rich foods. I mean, it is a fall meal, so that's when people do tend to start eating the richer foods. And as you can see right now, it's a lovely yellow color. All those good healthy fats are starting to liquefy. It's going to be a pretty good batch of soup. We'll be back right before we add the kale, the rest of the spices, and those sweet potatoes. I'm going to let it simmer, well, bring it to a simmer, and then I'm going to let it simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. Depends on what all we get up to in the next 20 to 30 minutes. See you in a little bit.
Yep.
Hey everybody, we are simmering pretty good now. It's a little bit of a foam with it, but that's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the curry powder. I think that was about a teaspoon and a half, maybe a little more, a little less. And about the same of cilantro. And a little bit less, maybe just a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'm gonna give that a good stir. And then I'm gonna turn my heat down to low and let it just keep simmering. Let all those good flavors blend in. And then we'll be ready to add the kale and the sweet potatoes in another probably 20 minutes from now. And in case you were wondering just how tired we were from earlier today, we've got some proof right here on the floor. He's the best helper around, can't you tell? Be back in a little bit. So it's been about 20 minutes and the soup has been doing this the whole time. I've been stirring it periodically just to keep any kind of film from forming on top, because that does happen when you're cooking with any kind of milk product. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully add the sweet potatoes. We've had a couple of disasters before. I promise my hands are clean. That's more for my husband's sake than yours. They're nice and soft, but they're not too soft. I think I've boiled them for about, the dog loves anything with sweet potatoes. But I think I boiled them in water for about 20 minutes just to get them good and soft. And I went ahead and added some cilantro to the water just so the potatoes could soak in some of that cilantro flavor. And I think I put some garlic powder in too. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Whatever floats your boat. So that's all our sweet potatoes. I'm gonna give it a good stir here. Get those mixed in. So the kale. It is a buttload of kale. But we all know kale likes to shrink down while it cooks. So I'm gonna slowly add it, kind of press it down as I add it, keeping my hand away from the hot liquid. Kind of got a little bit burned while I was adding those potatoes. Whew. Just gonna press this down. Let it start wilting. Oh. So, there you have it. The kale has been added. And I'm gonna finish pressing it down, getting it all good and wet so that it will continue to fall down. Oh, there's some sausage and sweet potato. See, it is all in there. And just there. Gonna put the lid on. Gonna bring it back to a simmer, so I'm gonna turn the heat up for a few minutes until it simmers. And once it simmers, I'm gonna turn the heat back down. And I'm gonna let it simmer for another 10 minutes. We're pretty hungry tonight. Normally it'd be about 15, but 10 will do. As long as the kale is cooked to your liking. Some people like crisper, some like it a little bit softer. I'll leave that up to you. So here's our coconut curry soup, plus sweet potato, kale, and sausage. And it's been simmering. We might have actually made it 15 minutes tonight. And I've been stirring it periodically while I've been waiting on the kale to cook. But I think we're all done now, ready to finally eat tonight. Oh, it looks good. Make sure you stir it up real good before you serve it, because the sausage and sweet potatoes do tend to go towards the bottom. And as you can see, we started with a very small pot. That sausage and onion did not take up much room. Neither did the coconut milk plus the broth. But by the time you get done adding the sweet potatoes and the kale, it's a pretty full pot. And we absolutely love this recipe because we know that we'll eat on it for the rest of the week. It heats up great. We'll serve it, we'll keep it in this pot in the fridge, heat it up tomorrow night, probably heat it up another night, and then it might be ready to go into a smaller container if we're lucky. Hope y'all enjoy. Thanks.